So here's Goldman Sachs.
Yeah.
When you think about Goldman Sachs, you only think about one state. You think about one city.
New York.
New York City.
Yeah.
You don't think about anything else. It's New York, Goldman Sachs, right?
New York.
Goldman Sachs and Elliott Management Corp are breathing new life into the decade-old idea of converting the Miami to West Palm Beach corridor into a southern hub for finance and investing, a notion that would have monumental implications for the area's development. Now, Goldman is weighing a new Florida hub for its asset management arm, while billionaire Paul Singer's $41 billion hedge fund, Elliott Management Corp., plans to move its headquarters to West Palm Beach, according to people familiar with discussions. Blazing moves by industry giants could open the floodgates of other firms, many of which have been hesitant to leave the center of financial universe for the promise of better. Can you imagine if these guys make the move? Look, Carl Icahn recently decided to relocate his asset management firm to Florida. Ken Griffin Citadel plans to open an office in Miami next, according to a person with knowledge of his plans. You know, Elon Musk just told a few friends that he's leaving California for Texas. Elon Musk is telling his friends. In an interview a few months ago, he said, no, I'm not leaving California. Just recently, his friends, imagine you're having dinner with your friends saying, Elon, are you ever going to leave California? Yeah, I'm thinking about moving to Texas. And friends are saying, man, you know, Elon's thinking about moving to Texas. They're thinking there is no consequences, but people are going to be leaving. What happens if a Goldman leaves to Florida?
We talk about this every week. We're shocked that a company's moving, and then it's every week there's a new one, and it's a bigger one, and it's a higher profile one. These government leaders in Sacramento, California, and is Albany the capital of New York? Is it Albany?
Yes.
They must be so myopic and so stupid and not have enough people around them to challenge them on anything. This is a crisis of epic proportions for these states. It's as big as the pandemic, if you ask me. When you have companies leave, because the pandemic is eventually going to end, right? There's going to have a vaccine. Things eventually will slow down and get back to normal. You have these companies bolting. I mean, multiply this tax revenue year by year by year. And then you have these high earners that aren't paying individual income tax into the state. And why wouldn't they all move to Texas and Florida? There's no state income tax.
Yeah.
I mean, I cannot believe that they aren't treating this like the crisis that it is, because it is only the beginning.
What do you think Cuomo's thinking behind closed doors? What do you think he's thinking behind closed doors?
I think he's thinking about his book. I think about the next interview he's doing. I think that, I do.
Cuomo's very aware of this. No. He begged and pleaded, look, I'll cook you dinner. Remember that quote?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Look, come over. I'll cook you dinner. Don't leave. Da, 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 da. Cuomo's aware of this. I don't think he's immune to this. But at the same time, you know, this is this decades-old, breathing new life into this decades-old idea. This is not a new idea of New Yorkers basically thinking about coming down to Miami.
Yeah, but now they're actually doing it.
Relax. I got you, Tom. Tom's fired up. This is nothing new. I feel like they've been playing hopscotch for a while. Look, born and raised in Miami. I've lived in Miami my entire life. I know a lot of people that basically, I mean, half my friends have been like, yeah, man, I just couldn't do it in New York, especially when they have kids. You could be single and have a time of your freaking life in New York City, run around, you meet a girl, you meet a guy. Next thing you know, you have kids. You're thinking, I'm living in a freaking shoebox. I'm paying $5,000 a month here. What the fuck am I doing? Hold on, for $5,000 a month, I can get a sick house on the water in Boca Raton or in West Palm or in Miami and Fort Lauderdale or whatever. And I feel like for years, for decades, people have been sort of playing hopscotch with, you know, or what's the jump rope game when you're kind of like thinking about going. Next thing double dutch. Thank you. Who was that? Eric, you're thinking about doing double dutch. Boom, pandemic happens. And then they're thinking, dude, I've been thinking about this for years now. I'm talking about just individuals. Forget about corporations. We can talk about corporations as well. They've been thinking about it forever now. And now that the pandemic happens, they're like, screw it. What do we have to fucking lose?
So here's a question. Here's a question, Dan. I get what keeps people in California. I totally get it. I mean, if you've been there, we went there, the weather, we're hanging out with Shauna. Listen, the weather, I lived there 20-some years. Beautiful weather. What keeps people in New York?
Well, look, number one, there's still, you're talking about individuals or corporations?
Give me both. What keeps people in New York?
Talent.
It is the financial capital of the world. Okay, talent is one.
Beyond.
Yeah.
Like, I live in Miami. You cannot compare the brain power and the talent in New York versus Miami. Miami's got a lot of favorable things going its way. Clearly, the weather, the low taxes, the fun, the sun, all that. You'd be very hard-pressed to find a very intellectual conversation going in Miami, bro. It's not going to happen for the most part, bro. Like, there's just not that level of brain trust in Miami. It's changing, though. It's changing. What else is keeping people in New York? I mean, look, no doubt, and Jerry Seinfeld did a thing about this where he's like, look, you could say that New York is dying and nobody's coming back to New York. New York is still the best city in the country, in my opinion, straight up. As far as like,
But what? Why?
dude, when's the last time you just hung
No,
out?
don't get me wrong. Listen, I love New York.
I love New York.
But I'm asking you why.
My favorite thing to do in this world, and you're talking about somebody who's born and raised in Miami, loves Miami. If there's one place I could live year round, it'd be Miami because I just can't take the cold.
Sure.
But my favorite thing to do is just put on some earbuds and just walk around New York City.
So here's a question, but for vacation or to live?
For a vacation.
Okay, so but I'm saying, why do people live and stay in New York?
That's the question, because 12 years out of the year, 12 months out of the year.
We have some?
It's culture.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say culture.
Culture, and then everybody, the belief that you are in the epicenter of the world. I mean, New York is where everything happens, or at least it used to be. So I think that kept people there. Fear of missing out, professionally, if you live somewhere else. It's just not the same, or it hasn't been. I mean, the buzz and the excitement of New York is incomparable.
I think if you look at look at Cuomo's attitude, look at Trump's attitude, look at New York's attitude, right? There's an attitude about New York. It's very attractive. Mm-hmm. The attitude of New York. It's like, no, here's what I'm going to do. And we're going to figure out a way. You don't like, it's like, it's a
if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
It's a very, unique attitude about
that attitude does not exist in Miami, I'm telling you.
But what I'm trying to tell you is, I've done business with people from every state. I've done business with people from every state, every religion pretty much you can think of. I've done business with everybody, right? There's something very unique about doing business with people from New York. I love doing business with people from New York. Mm-hmm. The way they are, you're going to know very quickly if something's going to happen or not. It's not like, well, can I get you something? Would you like to see that? Hey, Mary, can you get us something? It's like, so listen, when I look at what you got going on and what we got going on, I think there's something here. What do you think? How about we do this? I think it's really only the
swagger.
It's just a very simple, open conversation with them to have. But that talent is transferable to any market. You take that talent to a market like Florida, you got a big upside.
Oh, yeah.
Big upside, right? And so you go to Florida, a state with no taxes, weather year-round. Yesterday, we're checking out the weather last night in Palm Beach, 64 degrees. It hit 47 yesterday.
People are freaking
Palm Beach. They're freaking out.
Iguanas are dying.
That's
freezing.
That's the point.
Wow.
Yeah, iguanas are dying. They're freezing, right?
Yeah, real story.
I know, you're telling me this.
Yeah.
So, but 46 in New York is like
Tom, we got COVID. Tom's got COVID.
46 in New York. So you people don't think anyone's gonna leave New York until they do.
Yep.
That's really what it's all about.
And then there's a gallop behind them. A couple other things. Now, with all these people and all these corporations leaving New York, what's going to happen? They're going to have to raise taxes for the people that stay there, right? I mean, isn't that logical that it's going to even get worse?
Yeah.
Adam, I'm with you, man. As far as like hanging out in New York, there's nothing like it. The last time I was in New York was in February, and that was right at the beginning. I would say like a week before the pandemic. And I already noticed it was different. I really did. I think de Blasio has done such damage to that city. I mean, they need a mayor like Giuliani to come in there and restore that city. Because that was New York in the 70s and the 80s
Giuliani
as well.
of the 90s or Giuliani of today?
The 90s.
There's a big difference, Tom.
Yeah.
That guy's a mess right now.
But by the way, if you're watching this, you're listening to this, what do you think about it? What keeps people in New York? What keeps people in New York? Why don't people want to leave New York? I mean, obviously, the slow what the pandemic did, it exposed states like California and New York in a big way. Yeah. Pandemic was not good for California and New York, by the way.
No, horrible.
Horrible for those two states.
Can I make one last point?
Sure.
And I really truly mean this. I believe you look at these two states by far handling the pandemic the worst. The worst situation, the worst stories we hear are in California and New York. I believe that Cuomo thinks he's a rock star. I really do. The interviews, the books, I think he's thinking of what's next for him. I truly believe he's thinking more about what's next, and I think the same thing about Newsom. I don't think they care enough about what's going on. They're thinking about their next move. Newsom's thinking about being president. Cuomo's thinking about being a rock star and whatever else is coming up after, and they're neglecting things that are happening right now because they're so selfish.
Who do you think will be president first? Who has a higher likelihood of being president? Cuomo or Newsom?
Newsom.
I go Cuomo.
Tell me why.
I think he's got a broader appeal. I think, look, you think that Cuomo's New York's handling the pandemic worse. I think between Garcetti and Newsom, they're a freaking disaster. New York, in essence, this is where the pandemic started. All right. So thinking about people are living within like shoeboxes of each other. Yeah. Like that's a lot harder to deal with. People are living on people right on top of people. versus LA is completely spread out.
Yeah.
Like you can eat outdoor, no problem. Weather's fine. You can deal with this. New York, it's freezing. You're living on top of each other. Totally different beast. Totally different beast. And
So you're saying Cuomo before Newsom.
I'm just saying.
Do you think America is ready for a single president?
Is he not married?
He's not married.
What's going on there?
You can read into it. I'm not going to talk about it.
I don't
but
think he's got the Lindsey Graham thing going on.
Do you?
Is that common knowledge? What's up with Lindsey
The
Graham?
Lindsey Graham thing?
Oh,
You know the Lindsey.
something?
Put it this way: I wouldn't be shocked if Lindsey Graham was one of those 25 guys hanging out in a Hungarian orgy.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
You think he parties in Hungary? So go back to it. So do you think America's ready for a single president?
Look.
Do you think America cares?
Let me tell you something.
I'm back, by the way.
Look,
but listen,
Of the things that are going on in
America's
America right
already
now, you
proven
think
they're
I
ready
give
for a crappy
shit?
president. So yeah, a single one will be fine for
That's
America.
true. We got that's horrible. Trump. That's crazy. I agree with you, Tom.
So wait a minute. I'm actually asking a serious question. When John
Put
F.
it this-
Kennedy was
yes.
running, everybody said, "Is America ready for a Catholic president?" And the answer was what? Yes. Is America ready for a Barack Obama? Yes. Is America ready for a woman to be a president? Is America ready for a
Maybe
single
not.
man to be a president?
Yeah. Well, as far as a single man, let me tell you something. The guy's gonna have no shortage of ladies being like, "Look, I see your."
Well, that's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you, does America care? Do you care if your president's single or married?
America doesn't give
Do
a
you
damn.
care? Do you care?
Care less.
Do you care? Do you care?
No.
You
I
don't
don't.
care.
I just want him to
Clearly-
be competent.
Pat,
Wait, so-
clearly you care.
No, I'm asking
Clearly
you.
you care.
I tell you, it's not about me. There's 8 men in here, not one.
We all said
I
we
honestly
all
don't
said
care.
no. We all said no.
You
But what
think-
about you?
You think
You're going somewhere with
you
this. I
think-
know you're going
you
somewhere
think
with this.
You think women are going to be saying 100% yes? I don't know about that.
I-
don't, it's going to be like, I don't know.
I think
how can
he'll
you
have-
relate to me if you don't have a family?
Has
How
he
can
never
you-
been married?
He's been married.
Okay. What are we talking about then? He's got kids?
He's not married today.
Who gives a shit? He's smart then.
He picks up Leo's
So what you're
leftovers.
saying is you don't give a if you're watching this, by the way, I'm asking you this. If you really don't care if the president is single, put thumbs up. If you care for the president to be married, put thumbs down.
They've all acted like they were single anyway.
Yeah.
Every
No,
president.
just
I got
asking
my
you.
friend Vince. You know Vince. He just
Yeah.
I got a random text from him. He said Lindsey Graham definitely putts from the rough. That's for sure. Shout out to Vince Richardson. That's my guy.
How would Vince know, though?
Vince has got some inroads. He knows what's going on.
Maybe he's hosted the
Hungarian?
parties.
Vince is in touch with the people. He knows
Vince
his
is
stuff.
in touch with the people.
But I don't think. Bottom line is, I don't think anyone cares.
Well,
if
look, the
Cuomo's
reason why I'm
single
bringing
now.
this up,
Yes,
I'm
there's
bringing
a
this
reason.
up.
There's
I'm
a
bringing this
reason.
up because Bloomberg is single. And he ran, and nobody brought it up, and it wasn't a topic. It wasn't like something, hey, is anybody, going to bring that up? And it was never brought up.
No, I
But
don't
quite
think
frankly, Bloomberg, man, on the debate stage, he was
God, he was a putz.
He had charisma. He had swag.
Maybe the
he had
most-
style.
you could tell.
He had
comedic.
all sorts of energy.
Yeah.
You agree with me, right,
Yeah,
Tom?
Bloomberg.
He had what Trump
He was a
just
damn
does
good
not have.
mayor, though.
By the way, that comment right there could be used. If he was running today, they would use that
Yeah,
for
right,
one of his
exactly.
commercials.